One of the biggest things you can do as a sign of healing and showing growth and that you've matured is to be able to talk about things without allowing your feelings to get involved and cutting people down and exaggerating. Now, I want people to have an understanding where my situation's concerned that I had my own red flags. And the reason I want to talk about this is because some of the behaviors that I had, the people that were abusing me, keyed in on, and when they could no longer have access to me, causing that type of behavior to shut off, what I mean is they informed the next person that they knew was abusing me and tag teamed in order to benefit from the situation. What I'm talking about is basically like with Mr. Carpenter, and I see this with a lot of women. I don't do it anymore by the grace of God, but I see a lot of women doing this where they will pretend that their man is spoiling them when they're paying for everything and give the perception that financially the man is doing better than what he is. It gives a false illusion, and they themselves come to believe sometimes, and even they feed into it so much that by the time they see that they're being used, it's really embarrassing. I had this happen with me and Mr. Carpenter, which is one of the reasons that he lashed out at me was because I cut him off. I'm just somebody that's always been blessed with the ability to make money, not receive a check. I didn't get my Social Security until a couple years ago, which I earned. It's not SSI. Anyway, my point is this: Mr. Carpenter took advantage of me financially, and I let him, which is some of the problem with some of these people that are being abused. They allow the abuser to abuse them. And in my case, Mr. Carpenter was cousins with Mr. Lee, so they fed off of each other, which in the end is going to cost Mr. Carpenter because I stopped doing this type of behavior when it was Mr. Carpenter. I would let him drive my car. He would claim it like it was his. He claimed my house like he paid the bills there and didn't pay a quarter. He never gave me anything. Neither did Mr. Lee. The difference in the two is that with Mr. Carpenter, I hid it and made it look like he was helping me when he really wasn't. So when Mr. Lee came along and he thought that's what the pattern was going to be when I lived at Maple Grove and found out very quickly that was not going to be the case. It threw him and his wife off because I believe she also um, was benefiting from the situation behind closed doors. Not to be funny, but when you're sitting there bashing people and using stuff that you provoked in a situation in order to make excuses for your own bad behavior, which was something I was doing when I was allowing Mr. Carpenter to claim that he was taking care of me and Dory and Alvin when he was not. So here we had this situation, and I was making myself look foolish because everybody knew I was using my own money because they watched these guys and knew that they were either lazy or just didn't do anything that would promote any financial success at that time. I mean, Mr. Carpenter was selling dope. He was also the reason Shannon and Joe Abney's house got raided and shut down over there on, and Epstein got busted out of Dowagiac. That's what started the case with Epstein and in Traverse City with God's love. So I have to take responsibility for my part. And those are the things that I did at the beginning. These guys fed off of that and tried to use it as a pattern. And I caught on to that too, that they were manipulating the court, trying to say that there were patterns there that no longer existed. And when they couldn't do that and prove that, that's when the hacking and the shadow banning started with God's love. God bless America. Have a blessed day. Back the badge and support the Purple Gang.